The NBA just dropped its 2024-25 schedule, and today we're going to be talking about what is on the slate next year for the Orlando Magic. What are the nationally televised games? What are the games on NBA TV? And how will they fare in the first 10 games of the regular season next year? But first, guys, if you're watching this video, you're more than likely not subscribed to the channel. So make sure to join the 9.4% of you guys who are and be a part of the Magic Digest family. We're trying to build an Orlando Magic basketball community here on YouTube, and the easiest and best way to support and join is by subscribing to the channel. Okay, let's take a look at some of the nationally broadcasted games next year. We only had one last year, but this year we got five, so obviously we're on the come up. They have two games against the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's where we'll start. Looks like they're maybe trying to get a little bit of a pseudo rivalry. Obviously, this was the team that the Orlando Magic played in last year's first round series. Went 7 games. Very close series. Very ugly, messy series. Kind of just a home teams only kind of series. But it looks like the NBA is going to really try to invest a little bit into this. We've got the first game against the Cleveland Cavaliers on ESPN. That'll be on national TV, and then the second matchup against the Cavs is going to be on TNT, and it's probably going to be their last year with the NBA as well. Then sandwiched in between that, we got the Knicks. That'll be a cup game, and then the Thunder and the Celtics. So we're going across conferences to go play the Oklahoma City Thunder. We're welcoming them in to Orlando, and then obviously they got the defending champion Boston Celtics. I'm sure they've got plenty of nationally televised games. Does Boston? That'll be on ESPN. So this is very interesting. It looks like the NBA is really trying to kind of give the Magic a little bit of love here, investing in some of the youth. Paolo Banchero and his star power may continue to rise, and obviously Franz is another draw. I think is certainly international draw. The Magic are, they're called the German national team, pretty much traveling to Orlando, or the Michigan Magic, or the Orlando Wolverines, whatever you want to call it. But they got certainly a lot of guys from around the country have different types of fan bases. Everybody knows Jalen Suggs. He's kind of a little bit of a household name from his college career. So got a lot of players, a lot of stars that the Orlando Magic can continue to cultivate as time goes on. It looks like the NBA is investing into that. Now, I'm not saying like they're going to be one of the biggest draws in the NBA, but there's certainly some stars to market around it. They got 5 nationally televised games as opposed to just one last year. Obviously, it really mainly comes to this team is looking to potentially make it to the second round and beyond in the Eastern Conference this upcoming year. Now, let's look at some of the NBA TV games that this team has on the schedule. They have all against Western Conference teams. They're going at the Grizzlies, go play John Morant. They'll be much improved this year. And then they go play the Timberwolves and the Warriors and the Mavericks. Mavericks are the defending Western Conference champions. The Warriors are obviously the main draw when it comes to the NBA over the last decade. They're going to go at Golden State for that one. That one will be at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Probably will end the following day. And then, like I said, they do play the Timberwolves. That'll be Anthony Edwards versus Paolo Banchero. Battle of the number 1 overall picks from the last couple of years. And that should be very interesting. Kind of a litmus test, I think, in January to see where the Orlando Magic are as far as competing with some of the top teams in the NBA. I think that'll be a very interesting matchup. Kind of a bit of an underrated cross-conference matchup, I would say, as well. So I think that looks really good. You got 9 games there that we just went over that look to be really, really juicy, and I think a lot of people will tune in to more Orlando Magic basketball and kind of educate themselves a little bit. Hey, this team has arrived, and a lot of players, or excuse me, a lot of fans, I should say, will be able to really watch that on full display. Now, I definitely wanted to go over the schedule as a whole, and then we were going to get into how this team is going to stack up within the first 10 games of the year. Now, when we're just looking at this kind of breakdown from the overall schedule that is coming up, there's 13 total back-to-backs, 26 games played on consecutive days. There is 5 of them are going to be away to away. Then you got one that's away to home, and then home to away is 3, home to home is 4. Obviously, those home to away and away to home are going to be kind of a struggle. They'd be a struggle for any team. The longest homestand is going to be 6 games. That'll be at the first, and that's 2 instances, will be 6 games, and that'll be in one time in December through Christmas, so that'll be nice. The guys get to kind of spend that in Orlando or with their loved ones, wherever that may be. And then 12 days in February and early March. So that'll be a pretty decent span. Obviously, there's going to be back to back in that first one at some point, I believe. My math does me correct. And then the longest road trip will be pretty much right before they go on to their next longest homestand. It'll be 6 games in 11 days. So not too shabby, I'd say, with the overall feeling about how they stack up to some of the other teams. Whenever I look at this initially, and the schedule breakdown, I don't see them getting hosed in any sort of way by the NBA. I don't think the schedule is going to be any tougher than any of the other teams. They certainly try to make this as even as they possibly can, so you got to give it to the NBA that they're not really trying to make this too unfair to any squad. So when I look at that, I don't really see anything too specifically harmful, but it's always nice, maybe good psyche, good for the reset for the squad to be home during Christmas, because December 19th to December 29th is not too bad to have a homestand, and I'd say. So that's always a good sign. But outside of that, I'd say most of that is probably just your run-of-the-mill scheduling, stuff like that. So hopefully the late road trips or longer road trips will benefit the team, and they'll be able to get right before the playoffs is concerned. Now let's bring up the first 10 games, almost at 5, first 10 games of the NBA season, obviously starting out with Miami. Now this is after the preseason, so they're going to be at Miami. Then you got Brooklyn. Then you're at Memphis. Hopefully 2-1 by this time. I don't know exactly who they're going to. I like to think that they're going to split Miami and Memphis and then beat Brooklyn. And then they got Indiana and Chicago. You'd like to start 3-2 out of the first 5 games here. And then obviously you got Cleveland, at Dallas, at OKC, at Indiana. So you're going on a bit of a road trip there. And you're already on a road trip after playing Chicago. So you got 5 straight road games. That's almost pretty much the longest stretch. So tough start to this season. Tougher start than I would say most teams have had, but I'm not going to say like we're in an extreme disadvantage here, right? Because we got 8 road games, or no, excuse me, we got 7 road games in the first 9 games. That's going to be a little bit of a tougher play. Then we obviously got 5 straight road games, but if we can get through these first 10 games, obviously got New Orleans at the very end there, 500 or above 500, 6-4, I think a lot of people are going to take that. So if they can keep their head above water, I don't think a lot of people are going to say like, look, this schedule is going to be the end of this Magic team or anything like that. So as long as they can keep their head above water and keep it pushing through those first 10 games, I think that overall the schedule won't be too bad for them. Now, how will Paolo Banchero and company fare as the season goes on? I think that that'll be the main key. There's nothing within this schedule and the scheduling that is going to really hurt this team. We've seen this team have slow starts just 2 years ago, right? When we started 5-20 and we're able to kind of claw our way back into playoff play in contention. Weren't able to make it that far, that into it, but we went on major winning streaks. And as long as you don't start 5-20, as long as you don't start 3-7, 2-8, then like I said, there's nothing that will define this team outside of just their specific skill. But let me know what you guys think of the schedule. Obviously, I know I'm being a little easy on the schedule makers. 7 road games in the first 9 games is going to be very tough for any team, 5 straight. But I just think it's a part of the schedule making. We've got 2 long homestands as well in the season. And hey, I do think staying home during Christmas is going to be a plus for the players. But let me know what you guys think. Is the schedule fair, unfair, and how are you feeling about the Magic's chances of going deep into the playoffs this year? Let me know what you guys think, and until next time, I will see you guys with more Orlando Magic basketball content.